Okay, so let's definitely talk about the first time we ever met. I was like 10, right?
I'm 10 or 11, yeah.
And so you found out that you had a little. I didn't even know I had brothers and sisters on my dad's side, which is crazy. So I was like, yeah, 10 or 11 years old. And how did it happen? Dad told you, right?
Yeah, Dad, they called me, or we ran into each other somehow, and he was like, yeah, you got a little brother. And I was like, oh, for real? And I always wanted a little brother, you know, because I had two sisters. I had my twin, John. And I was like, for real? So I just really wanted to meet him. And then when I met him, he was just this little, bad little kid from West Deer Park. Came to my house. It was so hilarious, right? Picked him up, came to my house. First thing came to my house, he was like, I smoke weed. I do this. I'm in the streets. And the funny thing he really said was, I got a crush on your girlfriend. It was about baby mother at the time. And he was like, I'm trying to fuck your baby mother. I said, what you say, little nigga?
I was like 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah, right? I said, what you say, little nigga? Right, he was like, yeah, I'm trying to fuck your baby mother.
Oh, man.
Right, so he was like, yeah, I smoke. And I think this is the first time that, like he told us that it's the first time they actually got high.
So I had smoked weed before, which is terrible. This is so bad. I had smoked weed once before, back in West Deer Park, but I didn't get high. You know, they say sometimes the first time you smoke, you don't get high.
Of course.
So this was the second time. Tell him how.
So he came, he's just a little cocky, a little arrogant, and he looked so white. You know, all of us like the blackest out of him, like he always saying in his interviews. He looked just this little white boy with blue eyes, right? My little brother. So he's like, yeah, I smoke weed. I smoke a whole lot of weed. So I got this little boy so high, which is a bad thing for a big brother, but hey, it's the past. But got him so high that he just curled up in a fetal position on my couch.
I don't know about the fetal position, okay, but I was definitely freaking out. I was on the couch and I was freaking out.
I'm cold.
I was like freezing, bro. I don't know what it was, but yeah.
Am I gonna jump off of here?
Oh yeah, when I first hit the J. No, but I hit the J like, it's so funny because it's me. Like everybody knows I don't smoke. So, but I was like, yeah, motherfucker, whatever. I was like holding it in and shit, and we were on this huge high rise. It was like way up.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. I was like, is this gonna like make me like jump off the roof? Like, you know what I mean? I didn't know how. I thought they were like, no, motherfucker's not acid. And then, but yeah, I was so high, and he was like, drink milk and eat bread and take a shot. It was, but I was a kid. You know what I mean? I was a little kid. But
he was a little kid,
yeah, but
thinking he was a grown man.
Thinking he was a grown ass man.
Yeah. But then a couple days later, I was still with him because the first time I met him, it was like I spent a week with him, and a couple days later, he had all his homies were over, everybody was smoking and hanging and vibing out, and he had all this beer, and I was like, oh, what's beer like? And he was like, you want to find out, motherfucker? I was like, because I already smoked. I was like, no. But yeah, that was funny, man. That was a good time.
Yeah, good time, great time.
And, you know, and the thing about it is, you know, that experience, right, that put him in the place where, like, you know, it's like Nancy Reagan say no to drugs. You know
yeah, it's funny. I think it's that experience. But I still smoked a whole bunch of weed after that. I think my mind was so undeveloped that I didn't know how to handle it. And then when I was like 14, 15, that's when I really started smoking a lot. And the last time I smoked was 2006.
You know, he's a good young man. I mean, he turned out to
he
be
turned out to be
excellent. You know, because he didn't get caught up in the street stuff. You know what I mean?
I think
he was around it, but he wasn't caught up in it. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I love about this, even just here right now, is because like we can explain it, they can see it. You know what I mean? And like when I was young, like in the household there was narcotics, there was violence, there was motherfuckers who had murdered people living in my home, and you know my mother, and just all like witnessing her get beat, and you know dealing with my sister's aftermath of them getting raped by their men, and like really fucked up stuff that I saw at the time. And it's kind of crazy, like, that I'm talking a lot about that on the album, you know what I'm saying? Like, people have probably heard me say about Nick a million times. You know, when I did this album, he was like, he told me on the mixtapes, I want you to show me on the album. Me kind of discussing the music, it's much more than, is it good, is it this? I know it is. So now it's time to explain who I am, you know, and where I come from. And that's why I wanted to sit down with my father and my brother, you know what I'm saying? Because me and my brother experienced a lot of the same things, especially when dealing with our father.
And you know, I'm gonna tell you, and it was brought up, and it's been brought up before about, you know, Ralph and I, you know, me buying you know, drugs off of him, right? But the whole story is, sure, I would buy drugs off of him, right? And I might use some of those drugs, but I would re-up, I would sell what I had to get some more.
You was wholesaling my shit.
You know, I mean, you know, addiction is a part of our family tree.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
Yeah,
my mother died. His grandmother died from the disease at 41. She went to a party, went to sleep, never woke up. My father, he died at 47, and it was Christmas night, and he was walking home, and he slipped in the ice,
it was snowing outside.
and he hit his head on the front steps, and he froze to death in the snow.
Which is crazy.
And my brother Victor, my youngest brother, he died at 43. He died from the disease also. So yesterday I turned 60, right?
Yeah.
And I'm the first male in my family to live to be 60 years old.
Which is crazy. And he dressed like he's a 14-year-old European boy.
You know I got swag.
Yeah, my dad definitely did have swag for sure back in the day. I mean, he got a lot of women pregnant, so obviously, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, bottom line is he keeps his in his pants like he's supposed to.
Yeah, I can't fade.
Because he can.
No, that's what it is. All right, this is what it is. Like, motherfuckers look at me, and this is why it's so great, because I represent myself well, you know what I'm saying? I talk with character and respect, and I walk with it, like grace and whatever. So it's like, I don't smoke weed, I don't drink, I don't run around in the streets, I don't be fucking a million bitches, I don't this. And it's like, it's kind of sad to say, but it's because I saw it in my family. I saw what happened. So it's like, I saw my brothers hustling and being in the streets and, you know what I'm saying, running around with guns and fucking different bitches and getting people pregnant. I saw my sisters getting pregnant and having kids at 14, 15 years old. I saw, you know, what addiction did to my father. I saw what it did to my mother. And I think everybody in the family saw that and kind of followed it. Like, they went in the steps of, you know, smoking weed or drinking or running in the streets or this or that, because that was the only example we had. That's the only thing we saw. But for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. I think it's just God, that I saw that happen, and just with me, I was like, this is what I'm not supposed to do.
Right, exactly.
You know
and that's a real big proud moment that I have. I always say I'm proud of you, because that's one thing. And I didn't used to like try to coax you into it. It was just like, it was inevitable for us.
Yeah.
That's what it was inevitable. You got to do this. You got to hustle. You got to try to make some money, because ain't nobody else gonna do it for us.
And the thing about
but he
it
never
is,
listened to it, and it just was like, fuck that shit.
But the thing about it is,
I'm gonna be somebody, a musician. He did it, and I'm so proud of him for that.
But you know, the thing about it is, you and your brother both had the talent too.
I know.
But y'all decided that y'all wanted to go the other way.
I wanted my money quick.
But that's what I'm saying. I understand, because like, even with this, like, it's been years and years and years and years. I'm 24, so it's been 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to.
And they're exactly 10 years apart.
Yeah,
10
but
years
you got to
apart,
see where. Like, this is one thing that I think people don't understand about. Like, first of all, like, we're from Maryland, and people act like shit don't go on.
Yeah,
in Maryland,
shit
which
go
is
on in
crazy.
Maryland.
Yeah. So, but it's like, you like, I talk about it on a song Gang Related, where I'm rapping from my brother's perspective, and it's like, okay, I could, you know, I got a son on the way, I ain't got no money right now. I could go work at fucking McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? I got no degree, because unfortunately, I didn't get one. The school system didn't believe in me. They didn't push me. They didn't, you know, all this. So it's like, I can make $5,000 in a day on the corner, like, of my pocket.
Why not?
You know what I'm saying? Exactly, and support my family. Or I could make, you know, $475 an hour.
Every 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like,
every 2 weeks on a check.
So so it's like, you know what I mean? And it's difficult. And it's not saying that I mean, obviously, the negative ladder of that is being in the streets and is hustling and doing these things and being in that situation. Because you got to pray motherfuckers don't follow you home. People don't know where you lay your head. You know this, you know that. But they did what they did to survive and to live. And without what they did, without the things that my father has done and gone through, and the things that I have seen, I wouldn't be here. Because unfortunately, even though it's kind of sad to think about it, they set the example of what not to do.
Yeah.
So I saw it and learned from it. And that's probably the greatest gift I could have ever had.
And seeing what I'm learning from him is what to do now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the script has been flipped. You know, the bottom line is life is 10%, you know, of what happens. And it's 90% of how you deal with what happens, how you're going to react to what happens. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So you got to be able to know yourself today, you know.
Yeah.
And by me finding myself, by me being clean, you know, and not using, you know, because I started using it at the age of like 13, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And they say, you know, when you start using and once you stop, you're like that age that you started using it, right? So you know, the bottom line is, you know, I dress young because I feel young. I don't feel, a lot of people say, oh, 60. No, you don't look 60. And I say, yeah, I know I don't look 60. You know why? Because I'm around young people. Yeah, well, you know, bottom line is this, you know, you always have been driven at everything you, even when you was a little kid, okay?
Thanks,
you know, because you remember what happened when you broke the lamp.
Oh, yeah. First time my dad ever whooped my ass. My dad, it's a long story. You know what I'm saying? From you know, for a large majority of my life, my father wasn't there. Just my mom was crazy. He was dealing with addiction, just all these different things. But I remember when I was like 3 or 4 years old, I always looked at it, and he could relate too, because we have different mothers, but we have the same father. And there was times when, you know, our dad wasn't in our lives. So when he did come around, it was like, oh, Dad's here. Like it's almost like he was like a friend more than like a dad. You go and it was like exciting. And I remember one of the very first memories of him whooping my ass. I was playing with like some Ninja Turtle throwing stars, and I kept throwing them motherfuckers, man. And it was like going near his lamp, and he like loved his lamp for whatever reason. And he was like, "Don't be throwing him, little nigga." Like I remember it like it was yesterday. Yeah, he's like, "Don't be throwing him." And then I threw it, and it broke his lamp, and he whooped my ass. It was crazy.
Yeah, I tore his ass up. But it wasn't child abuse. See, today they would call it child abuse, you know? No. But, you know, I only gave him two whippings in his whole life.
Two lashes.
That was one time, and then there was another time. This was like years later. I was probably 11, and I was outside playing with everybody in the neighborhood back in West Deer Park, and we were all having a good time. It was like the fine little honeys outside and like whatever, and we were like playing ball, and we're like, I'm showing off, and usually my mom would make me check in like every hour, you know, just to make sure I'm safe. And I was like 2.5 hours late. And he was staying with us at the time. I think it was you and Deirdre, his girlfriend at the time back then. They were staying with us, and like I'm playing or whatever, and I see everybody like they're looking at me like, what the fuck? And I'm like, why are y'all looking at me? And I turn around, and he's got the belt behind his chin. Everybody just whoops my ass in front of the whole fucking neighborhood, bro.
Yeah, but you know the thing about it is, you know, he deserved it.
I should have checked in.
Remember when you worked with my go-go band?
Yeah, my dad, well, that was a great experience because the first time I ever performed was because of my dad. So, like...
How old are you?
About 16.
15. I was 15. 15? Yeah. So my dad would always go out and play. He still plays. Like, it's in our blood. Like, that's where we get, my brothers can rap and all this. So, that's where we get it from our dad. And, which is insane. Like, my mom, she was a writer. You know, my mom used to write all the time.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I got the writing aspect from my mother. And then I just got all the swag from my dad, from my pops.
Well, he's a showman, man, like his dad.
But I learned from the best, man. But it was weird. I mean, we would play like little bars and like different places like that.
Oh man, let me tell you, when he was like 14, right? He went into his first competition, and it was at the National Institute of Standards, NIST, right? And when we went in there, they had the guards. Before we could even drive in,
like the armed guards, they were like searching for like the bombs
stuff.
It was weird. We were in some governmental facility. I don't know why the fuck we was there, but I'm glad we were there because it was very. It was like the first time I really ever performed. I remember watching the video because we had. You remember those old like the flip cameras, like when they first came out? Yeah, that's what you had one. Yeah, I know they were horrible. Anyway, but I remember he filmed me. And I remember watching the video. I'd watch it over and over and over and see like the things that I did that were good, the things I could do better, the mistakes I made. You know. Looking at shit a little red in the face, like why did I do that and this and that. But that was like the first time. That was the first time I ever really performed. So thanks for that.